All right. Uh, Ni- okay. Presenting. I'm going to make a talk on enhancing the Kivy Android experience with SimpleJnius, KivyDroid, and then I'm going to showcase the new tools I developed and how it works with my recent deployed app on Play Store, Fami AI.
Okay, okay, good, good. So I'm leaving to you this stage. Feel free to share everything you want and talk about what you do with Kiwi and your app. So I'm leaving the stage to Kengoon with enhancing the Kiwi Android experience with KivyDesign, KivyDroid, and SimpleJnius. Let's go.
All right. So my name is Kenneth Kwakubwe, also known as Kengoon. Um, so for today, I'm going to talk about enhancing the Kivy Android experience. So far, I've worked on tools on bridging the Android experience in Python. So accessing Android SDKs are kind of like a pain in the neck most times. And then most people don't know how to do this. But then I have been working on tools like SimpleJnius and KivyDroid to make access to these tools a lot more simple. And then I'm going to also talk about the Kivy UI design, how you can make a clean and better UI design. Most people do UI designs and are worried about how they place items or how they can make something more beautiful. Well, Kivy gives you the free access or the free power to do anything you like. Customization is one of the key powers of Kivy. That is what I'll say there. All right, so I'm going to also show you native Android access and real production example. I have one of my app on Play Store, Fami AI, and another one, Packly. But Packly is doesn't have much features to showcase, but I'll be showcasing more Fami AI. Uh, okay, so I'm going to skip this. I've already talked about this. Okay, so when it comes to designing with Kivy, how do you place out your UIs? How do you source design, and how do you kind of like get what you want from different sources? Let's say, for example, you want to design something like Airbnb, right? How do you start placing your design? How do you make it as beautiful as Airbnb? First thing I normally do is to look at the Airbnb application, right? I go and download it from Play Store or Apple Store. Then look for sources that I see on dribble.com or pinterest.com, right? So what I do is to draw a skeleton. Once I get the UI, different UI screens, I draw a skeleton of each UI, right? Drawing the skeleton helps you to understand how you are going to place each widget, right? And it helps you to understand the shapes of the widget and then where to apply your colors and all of that. Skeletons help you to, place things specifically where it needs to be. I see most people using float layouts all the time because it's a lot simpler to design. But a problem with float layouts is this: um, it doesn't get to give you the same look on different devices. So maybe you place a button at the top right, somewhere at the top right, maybe pad it a little bit by 80% or something. Then when you change it to another device, you see that it looks way off. But then finding that balance to, use something that arranges your widgets properly. So I recommend, checking out sourcing designs from Dribble and Pinterest and others, or checking these apps that look beautiful, and has almost any kind of mobile UI. So that is that for that. Okay, native Android with I have deployed new features on iOS. I showcased last year, talked about notifications and other features, most especially notifications. So there's something new in notifications and system services that I would love to talk about. Okay, first of all, let me start with the notification. And I'm going to show a sample of this to connect my device. Let me connect my device to my laptop so you can't see it. Mm. I hope you guys can see my device. So I'm going to launch KivyDroid. So um, first of all, I'm going to create a notification channel. I'm going to talk about how all this works through sample codes. So I've created a notification channel. Next thing I'm going to create call notification. Okay, my phone is on DND, so you can't thoroughly see things. So this is the one from KVDroid. So as you can see, let me see. Let me turn off my DND. Let me turn off my DND and try this again. I want to really, yeah. So let me just go away from my screen. As you can see, it's they call something. The call notification. It allows you to decline or answer. Then you place your intent, what you want your decline button to do, and what you want your answer button to do, and then you use activity on bind listener for from the Android module to bind these actions to tell it what to do when decline is pressed or answer. As you can see, it's still on my screen and not leaving until I swipe it away. Then if you want the ringing tone, you can put the notification, your system, that is the Android system ringing tone as default. You can set it from the code. I will show you that in a moment. All right. So that is that for the notification. Also, there are other features in the notification where you can set, just like Uber, you can track location, right? It shows you like a progress bar. Then you see a car. I can't showcase it on my phone, though I've written example code for it, but I can't showcase it on my phone because it only works on Android 15 and above. My phone is Android 14, so it won't be able to work. But then it shows you a progress. Let me see if I have a link for that. Um, yes. Okay. So let me show you how it looks from the Android documentation itself. It's like my internet is a bit slow, but why it loads, let me, okay, it's here. So progress metric notification. Let me show you how the, yeah. So if I zoom in a bit here, yeah. So this is the progress. This kind of like shows you the car, then it tracks the movement of the car from the point of pickup to the point of delivery, or from the point of coming to you to pick you up. Let's say like Uber coming to pick you up from to go on a trip or something like that. So you can implement this kind of notification with KVDroid. So I have implemented series of different notifications like the call style, the inbox, the messaging, the media style, and it's almost all the styles you can think of. It's all available on KVDroid because I implemented exactly what I saw on the uh, Android documentation. All right, so let me head over to the code. Okay. So this is the code for the notification. I have updated the code for notification not to be a function, but to be a class, right? So that it imitates exactly how Android notification looks like. Let's say you're reading the Android notification, then you want to apply it exactly the same way with auto completion. If you're on PyCharm or VS Code or whatever IDE you're using that has auto completion, you can get this. Because if you're using PyGenius, just PyGenius, you won't get auto completion, and most times you might be confused on what to get and what not to get and all of that. So, and I'm using the snake case style to make it more Pythonic and all of that. So this is how you create a notification. But first, this is how you create a notification channel. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is notification channel. You can add all the features you need, the channel ID, the description, enable vibration, set show badge, and all of that. Then you create your notification here. So mind you, this notification is using Android X. So if you did not enable Android X and did not kind of like add Android X core dependencies to the Gradle dependency section on Buildozer, your app is going to crash. But if it's crashed, don't worry, it's going to show you, it's going to give you an error with what you need to do exactly. And then KivyDroid version 0.70 comes with a requirement. Let me see if I can put that up, where we kind of like tell you that this only works on requires API greater than 26 or greater than 23 or whatever, so that you know exactly why your code is crashing. Let me pull that up. So it's kind of like a decorator. So this is a decorator, require API. So it's placed on core parts of the KVDroid uh, library to tell you that this code works only on version so and so. So if your code crash, it tells you why. So I think that's another helper for you to keep in hand. All right. So one other thing that I would like to talk about after this notification is the services. Let me go here. So I recently made a pull request on Python for Android. So this pull request is about foreground service from Android 14 or Android 13. I can't remember. You can no longer run foreground services without specifying what type of foreground services you are running and what the permissions they need. You have to specify the permissions. So, for example, I'm going to show you this. Uh, Let me first of all start with my buildozer.spec file. So on this service, yeah, from here, as you can see, you notice foreground service type equals to location or uh, or data sync. I think that's a combination, not just or. It's a bit. I don't know how to explain that. But it combines. But it tells you that I'm syncing data and I'm doing location something. So if you want to keep your foreground service alive in the background, you have to enable location, right? You have to specify this and then specify that okay, you are syncing data, because if you don't specify both, your application would not work in the foreground. It will just stop working once you minimize your app. If you come back to your app, it start working again, which is not what you want. You want your app to be working behind the scene. And then this is the stuff you would enable. Let me see. Okay, so you will enable this. You add this permission, foreground service data sync and foreground service location. Remember to add your foreground service. And I missed something for the call notification that I just showed you previously before I head over to what I'm saying. You need to add this use full screen intent, because you are meant to call that call notification from a foreground service. So if you're calling it on your activity class, that is your Python activity, Kivy runs on the Python activity. So if you're calling it from the activity class, you have to specify this permission. So you don't have to enable it on the runtime. So like you don't have to request for the permission on runtime. Just specify it on this section, and you're good to go. So just in case you get any error or the notification is not popping up. All right, so back to foreground. So enable this, and then enable your uh, background permissions. So I will go back here. I've already requested for both background permissions. You don't need to request for foreground service or any of those foreground permissions. And then uh, where is that? Okay, so this is where I enabled my GPS. I'm not using the player module GPS because I am using the play service, the new play service location GPS function. So I had to do my own integration. I will still share out the source code, but you have to kind of like put the library, the dependency on your Gradle stuff. So this is how I start it. And then let me pull up my screen. So let me start a new logcat and close my app. Hmm. So let me first stop this. Okay, is my screen still up? Okay, good. So I want to show us how this foreground service works. Notice that this is printing on the activity class. I mean, on the activity class, that is the main.py, the Kivy surface. So let me see. So I'm calling it here. Let me increase my brightness a bit. Okay, so I'm updating my location here, right? So it's on my main.py Wi-Fi. Now let's see if I minimize my app. My Kivy app will stop. You see that triggered will stop calling, but update location is still calling. Triggered is coming Kivy from the Kivy code, but this is being called from a thread, a third-party thread from from the Android operating system or from the Android things. I don't know how to uh, specify this stuff, but you get what I'm saying. So this is coming from the Android. The other one is coming from Kivy. So if I go back to my app, it continues. But then look at this. Kivy is able to capture what happened behind its back, right? So this guy that I just selected is being printed by Kivy. So uh, I store this location in the Kivy thread, no, in the Android thread. Then I access it from Kivy thread. So let me show you the code. It's fairly simple. So just save the location. I store it here. Then on resume, I kind of like access my code. Let's say you want to update the current user location on your Kivy interface. This is how you do it. But keep in mind your location still runs in the background. But then if you don't want to run it on your Kivy thread, if you don't want to execute your GPS on your Kivy thread, you can easily do that on your service. So if you uncomment this, it's still the same thing. But then you have to log it from I think this is test. So you have to do something like this, ADB logcat test. So, and then it logs you whatever that is coming from your service foreground stuff. But then the problem with this is if you want this thing to run in the background and you are not requesting for GPS permission anywhere, both in the background, in the Kivy thread, or in the foreground service, this service will not print this foreground service is running. It won't print it at all. It will not even work. It will pause the entire state of the foreground service. So keep that in mind. So if you are using GPS, you must access GPS in the foreground or in the Kivy thread, whichever way you want to do it. Also, for camera accessing camera on the foreground, the same thing goes for that. If you check the link on, if you check the documentation on Python for Android, I included a link to foreground service types you can include in your build.spec file. So check it out, and it will take you to Android documentation. You'll see all the kind of foreground service type and how they work. So you read up from there. All right. So okay. I think I have done a justice to this. All right, so SimpleJnius. Now, let me open up my. I think this one requires me to, talk more on showcase more than talk more. Right. So I have implemented a whole series of. I think I should uh, clear my cache. I want to start from the login screen to the final screen. Okay. All right. So if you notice in the beginning, there is a kind of transition that moved there. It is not Kivy's, it's not the Python activity, the default Python activity loading screen. This is actually the Android splash screen. So I wish I can show this. Let me see. Uh, okay. So this is this splash screen. So this is what I'm using for that. So if you notice, it then kind of like show me the Android, the native Kivy's loading screen. So I have to use that splash screen because it's much better. I think I recommend that Kivy put it as an option for the whole development phase on Android, so that it has animation. It removes the use of Lottie and all of that, so you can customize your animation. You can use vector graphics, SVG. You convert them to XML, and then do your kind of like code the logic for your animation, and make it the way you like. So it has animation. You can animate the logo. Then you can hold the transition, like you can make it longer until your Kivy app starts. So I think I shared the code to someone in the Kivy in the Python for Android stuff. One of the core devs. I can't remember whom, but um, it's on Java, so I can't really show that. Let me see, Fami AI. Let me get back to this. So this is SJ credential. This thing that is appearing here right now is the Google, though is in conjunction with Firebase, but this is SJ credential, which I would push to SimpleJnius very soon. Though I've not pushed this, but these are the tools that are coming to SimpleJnius. So SimpleJnius makes a lot of these things easier for you to manage. So the sign in, I think I'm having network issues. That is why it's taking this long. But anyway, why that continues, let me talk about other tools that I have worked on. So these are the tools here. So SJ Add Mob is just like the Kivy Mob, but then it gives you more features, and it gives you the power to do whatever thing you like the way you like. So this SJ Add Mob um, doesn't use autoclass. Most of SimpleJnius stuff doesn't use autoclass. And let me talk about this now. So I tested something. Autoclass takes about 0.3 seconds. Let's say when you are autoclassing something, autoclassing a Java class, it takes about 0.3 seconds. I showcased it on the group. And then using class reflection. Let me show you how class reflection looks like. So let me open something like this. So this is class reflection. Let me open one that has much code in it. Yeah. So this is class reflection. Using this instead of auto class boost your speed. This kind of like starts in 0.0012 dot seconds. You understand? So this is a lot more faster. I recommend this. Though one issue with this is that every method you want to use, you have to declare them here. Every method you want to use. But then I developed a simple tool that can help you create this. So you don't need to write the code yourself. The tool writes the code for you. So it's you have to specify the class what's it called, the AAR file or the J, is it JAR file, and then it extracts the classes and then converts it to this. It just writes the code for you. You don't need to worry much about how it works and all of that. It's simple to use. So this is a lot faster. And then, so with this SJ add mob, I didn't add any two sessions. So you have to code most things yourself. Let me pull up lib. Where's my lib? Let me show you an example of how it looks like. So adds. So this is a sample code of how it looks like. So I will still share this out. So this is for loading rewarded ad, but then you notice that you have the ability to create your own listener and not be create your own listener and have access to whatever thing you need to do. KivyMob is limiting in a way, and it's based on the old gradual dependency. It's still using Firebase, the deprecated Firebase ads, which I don't like. Though this guy created SK Sahel, yeah, I think Sahel Pixels, he created his own version, which I still feel it constricts in so many ways. A lot of things are implemented for you, but then the things you need to do yourself, maybe you want your own kind of functionality, it may not be there. So, but with this guy, you can do anything you like. I kind of like uh, reflected the whole classes, every classes in AdMob. So that's that for AdMob. So next up is I'm still waiting for this to come up. So next one is SJ app update. SJ app update, kind of like I can show an example of this, but what it does is, let's say for example, you ship and update your app, and then the user is using your app. Maybe you have experienced this with Facebook or whatever app you have used in the past. It pops up Google Play in app install. Like it tells you that there is an update. Do you want to install it? Yes or no. So if you choose to go ahead with installation, it installs it within the app. And once it's done, the app is restarted. So this is what SJ app update does. SJ billing clients. I wish I can show this if my network it's not misbehaving. It's taking too much time. Let me check something before I continue because this is much better. Uh, I think my network, but uh, anyways, um, but maybe you guys should download and check it out. But then it has the billing SDK. So the billing SDK allows you to make payments via Google Play billing. So it's quite simple. I've already pushed the update to SimpleJnius. I think I shared out all the link to the form I filled for this event. Well, anytime it gets on, I'll get back. And then there are two the AI integrated into this is the file is AI logic. So I think I showed example in the Discord channel. You can chat. So the AI can analyze crop data, can take picture of the plant quite in front of me. It tells me the percentage of its health and all of that. So it's using the Android SDK. It's not being done via a cloud server. So I kind of like built the the bridging to Python via SimpleJnius and PyGenius. So it uses the Android SDK to do that. So I think there are other stuff that I haven't mentioned, but then maybe just download the app, check it out. I can't really showcase it without it not popping up. Okay, so I think I've talked about Family AI. Sorry. Okay, okay. I think I've talked about call style notification, inbox style notification, and modern Android UX notification. Okay, built fully in Python. Yes. Okay, so most of the tools I used in Family AI totally written in Python. The only thing that I wrote in Java is the interfaces, mostly on the AdMob side, because a lot of new interfaces were created since the last time they updated. So those are the interface, and then the GPS, because I'm using the GPS module, but then it's my own version because it allows me to kind of like auto turn on the GPS. Plier doesn't allow that. Plier uses the core Android GPS location, which it doesn't support you to kind of like auto turn on the GPS via the Play service. Though if it's auto turns on, it asks the user for permission. It pops up something to turn on the GPS. So that's that for that. Okay, I've talked about this 99 performance speed. So using auto class is a lot slower. And KivyDroid, the whole of KivyDroid class will be migrated to, the whole of KivyDroid functions, because we use functions and then we use functions to wrap auto class, right? So what we're going to do next is to kind of like change everything to class reflection to improve the speed. Because if you do a lot of auto class, you notice there's a humongous delay on Android, right? Especially on slower device. So the delay is too much. So to reduce that delay, reflecting the classes direct is much better than auto classing. So my key takeaways here: Kivy is powerful on Android, very very powerful. Just that the the sky is your limit in Kivy. But then there's something I want to mention. This is for the core devs. I think the text input needs a lot of work. Miko, I saw your work on the on the text input. You fixed the uh, backspace thing where you click backspace, then a lot of text start jumbling around on the screen. So I think you have fixed it, but then it has not been meshed because a lot of work still has to be done behind the scene and all of that. I think it should become a top priority because this is becoming a serious issue where you want to build anything related to text. Most ways user input text are by via the keyboard, so they hate it when they don't have access to what's it called, gliding or auto completion or emojis and all of that. So I think this one is for the Kivy community. Then Kivy design improves UI. So Kivy is a lot faster, but the way people design Kivy, write Kivy code is the problem, right? So recommendations I make here is load screen when you need them. Don't load everything at once. That will slow down your app. And then don't use clock when you don't need it. When you use clock when you don't need it, let's say you forgot to turn off a spinner, or you forgot to turn off something that is loading, or any animation, or anything that has to do with clock. If you do that, if you leave it on, and then the user is doing something else, it kind of like slows down the app because I think clock is CPU intensive. If you try to put down the notification area, it shows that this thing is slowing down the notification area. And then let's say you pop up an ad, and the ad is a video ad. The ad video is slowing down because there is an animation going on in the background, and there is a clock thing doing in the background. So don't use clock when you don't need it. So KivyDroid simplifies native access, and that is true. A lot of new features. People are complaining about the edge to edge. Edge to edge is available on KivyDroid. So edge to edge is what I'm using on Fami AI and most new projects that I'm working on. And then I recently added a feature to allow you to get the top insert, bottom insert, left and right insert, right? So to kind of like pad your view. Let me see. I implemented in Fami AI. So let me open up my main.py. So yeah, so this is it. This is it. So this is where I am padding it, status bar height and navigation bar height. But I've not kind of like totally implemented it. Okay, yeah, I did. Let me say the function set on apply window insert listener. So this kind of like works when you rotate the device. If you rotate the device, it still applies. If your edge to edge comes back to life, let's say the status bar and the navigation bar comes back on again, like it is visible on the screen, it kind of like tells you it is visible on the screen again, and the value will become 0 and 0 for top and 0 for bottom. And this is where I assess it. Let me see. Insert the top, insert the bottom. So if you want to get for left and right, you can also get to check the distance between where the user swipes for sending back signal, like to press on back press, something like that. Yeah. So it works both on rotation and all of that. The initial one we had, get status bar height and get navigation bar height, they don't work as expected anymore because Android, I think from Android 14 or 15, I can't remember. So if you rotate, it doesn't change. It's just there. So use this one instead. The documentation is on KivyDroid. Just check the KivyDroid README page. Everything is there. So guys, thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Sorry I couldn't showcase much of my Fami AI project. I would love to do that, but then I mean network is another thing. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Do not worry about the connection issues. Everyone have connection issues every day. But I think we had the opportunity to hear most of the important things here during your stream. Yeah, you're right about the input with all the features that an input really need. So selecting things, native access to the input. The work on it is going slower than what I would do, but slowly, but we are doing progress on everything, and I have to congrats to who is doing some implementation right now in the Kivy code. Dexter, for example, is working on an implementation for the Skia graphics backend and other things. So yeah, let's hopefully 2026 will be our year and we will be able to add some more features.
Yeah.
But thank you to give us the opportunities to see what you did this year with Kivy, and feel free to add some of the features you did in KivyDroid, SimpleJnius, inside the Kivy core code,
All right. All right.
if possible. So,
Yeah,
thank you
I'll
everyone.
see how that fits in.
Yeah. So, thank you everyone. Thank you, Kengoon. And we will see all together again this afternoon, so in about 6 hours, if I'm not wrong, with other three talks about Kivy. Thank you everyone. Bye.